Hey, what's up, everybody? Bitcoin, XRP, Theta, altcoins, everything's pumping right now. It's looking pretty good. Bitcoin's at a new all-time high, almost $114,000 after correcting in this ABC, right? So we had this impulse to the upside. We had a three-wave pullback because remember, that's how the market moves. It moves in fives and threes, right? So that's how it moves. So you can see we had our impulse, we had an A, B, C expanded flat, we had an impulse, we had an A, B, C, right? So the question is it finished? Are we getting ready to set sail? Well, it looks like we're starting, you can see the range here. We came and we kind of had a reverse flag and we're breaking out. So the question is, are we ready to start marching higher? Well, that's totally what I'm thinking here. But there's also, remember what we talked about in the last video. Is it going to be more complex? Is it going to turn into a flat? We talked about a running flat. So, for example, you have three waves down. This could theoretically be three waves up, and it can top somewhere around this area, and then we would get either 3 or 5 waves back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what that would do is give us a B, C. So instead of a little A, B, C, it becomes a more complex A, B, C. And then we break out. So that's the big thing, right? So how do you know if this is going to be a flat? Well, you just have to track the small time frames. But to me, I think this could be the real deal, right? Now, if we get up here and we kind of start stalling out a little bit, what we can see is maybe a running flat. So like 3, we get up here in 3, and then we come down in 3 a little bit like that, or something like this, where we have a W, X, Y. So it's some kind of running flat. So 1, 2, 3-wave move and then go. So are we going to get that? Well, I mean, it would buy more time for one, because the altcoins, that's what they need. They need time to recover. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But let's look a little bit closer here. Now on the smaller time frames, you can see, well, we have this impulse, right? We had 3 waves down. We talked about that. We had, so you could say W, and then we had this move up here, X, and then boom, boom, boom. That could be Y. So there's a running flat right there. So that was just the example I was referring to. Are we going to get something like that, right? So you could see, here's your 3-wave move. There's your 3-wave move, right? Here's your push to the upside. Here's your push to the upside. And then you can see 3 back down. Are we going to get 3 back down? That's the question. But right now, I mean, there's really, I think this is pretty bullish. I obviously it's bullish, right? But the big thing is if we break back below 109, then the flat is on the table. If we continue to hold it, you can see we broke out and we back tested it right here. We confirmed it. We continued higher. But now we have 5 waves. So we could still get a correction and it not be a flat. For example, you can kind of just flag out a little bit, right? And then go. So, but on the face of it, you have this impulse, 3 down, right? Boom. So 1, 2. And then you can see, if you zoom in, what do you see? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. You got a 5-wave move. So the question is this going to be an ABC? Like A, right? And then we come down B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for C. Is that going to be an ABC? Well, we'll see, right? Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just a continuation of our impulse. All right, so we'll go back to Bitcoin. Let's look at a couple altcoins here. Let's take a look at XRP. We're at 250 now. No more 249. So 250, looking pretty good. Not too bad. So let's kind of go back to over here. Before I was saying this could be a rising wedge, right? It looks like a rising wedge, and typically what happens with rising wedges is you have a 3-way pullback. The alternative to that was you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And you're kind of revving up, revving, room, and then you get going, right? So that's uh, another example, kind of like over here, right, where it kind of looked a little bit flaggy or wedgy, and then you get a pop. So we've seen these reverse flags many times, especially in Bitcoin. They're littered all over, but you can even see something like this, right? How it kind of consolidates and then pops the high. So here's the big thing, right? Are we going to see some type of correction? Because a lot of times these wedges, they'll have these big tops and then they'll pull back. But if it pulls back to the trend line, that's actually good, right? So let's zoom out and let's look at basically the whole structure now. So again, really quick, XRP is the most bullish looking crypto on the face of the earth. Why? Because it's been consolidating for 7 years. And you can say, well, that's bad. No, that's good. Why do you want it to consolidate? Because in order to get this type of move, which is what we all want, right? This would change our lives if we got something like that. In order to get that, we need this. Well, guess what? We have it. We have it right here. So now it's all about finally breaking the chains of this very long range. And a lot of people don't want it to break. XRP's had a very tough life. The Bitcoin guys want it to die. The bankers hate it, right? It's just the gold guy. XRP is a big target, right? Because they know, you attack those you fear the most. And XRP should be feared because it's very powerful. And what it can do, and the company Ripple, and basically they have built out a major infrastructure, and all of their hard work, the lawsuit, the ETF, the chart, it's all paying off. And you can see, right? Again, you have three, 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 right? A, B, C, D, E, triangle, right? We broke out. So you could see 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's 5? We don't have 5. We don't have 5. So we should get 5. So another thing too, I'm just recapping because maybe some people don't know, but you have rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. Let's get the blast off. So another reason why it's super, super bullish is because you see this resistance right in here. You're cupping into the resistance. So same thing over here. You're cupping into the resistance. So these cups, these massive multi-year cups, coming up in here, it's weakening this big block, right? You have this big block here, and it's gotten weak. It's kind of like when the B-2 bombers dropped the bombs in Fordo, right? So if this is kind of like the opposite of, obviously the ground would be down here, but if it's like the opposite, right here, you have a bomb coming here, weakening the structure, weakening the structure, a bomb, another bomb, and then another bomb. And then this one finally got through. And you can see there's a time release mechanism here. And it's tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It's a delayed fuse. And it's in the hole, right? So it's going to explode, hopefully, right? Hopefully we get an explosion. Hopefully, we don't have a nuclear war before then. No, I'm just kidding. We're not. So this is all looking really, 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 really good. So enough of the recap. If we just focus on the smaller time frames, again, if you look at the smaller time frames, right, what do you see? You see 3 waves up. Or I'm sorry, the not the small time frames, but where we are here. We have 3 waves up. We have 3 waves down. And then what do you get? You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up. A, B, C. So let's get it. So fast forward over here, we have an expanded flat. And let's put the bull market support band on. Look at the bull market support band. It's beautiful. You can even throw on some, wow, look at that. Now it's looking a little bit nice looking, right? So if you actually, let's take the band off for a second. Let's just look at the daily moving averages here. And let's get rid of the price. And if we hide the price and we just look at the moving averages, the daily moving averages, you can see what happened here. So they're all expanding, right? Obviously they're crashing, but now they're kind of consolidating. And this is what you want. You want it to get tight, 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 tight. So, and now you can see they're all angled up. So the 200, the 20, the 50, and the 100, they're all pointing up. That's consensio. That's what consensio was called. If we go to the weekly chart, they're still all angled up, right? So this is consensio, hyperwave theory, right? So we are totally bullish, right? So anyways, the weekly chart, we have a weekly engulfing candle, and today's or this week's goal is simple. All we have to do by the time the Sunday close occurs is close above this area right here, which is at what, 250, right? So one of the good things is, right, well, before I talk about that, again, we have this expanded flat. You have a move up, you have a move down, a little bit of a move sideways. Now we're starting to climb up here. So that's the goal. Now, if we get up here, that means we just printed 3 waves, right? So if we have 3 waves, that means we have 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then that means it opens the potential to get another 3 waves down, and that could lead us all the way into like September, October, November, right? Before going for the real breakout. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. If it did happen, it would just be a bigger 4th wave, right? But it doesn't make too much sense because it's already getting out of alignment with the 2nd wave. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So the size of 4 and the size of 2 is the same. So if this became more complex, it would be too big. But a lot of times that does happen because you have rules of alternation. Sometimes this, the 2nd wave is small and sometimes the 4th wave is big. It happens. But ideally, you want it to be in the same size, same degree. So let's put the bull market support band back up. Let's get rid of that. And this is the most important, I think, here, alongside, the 52. But yeah, it's looking a lot better. Very exciting. But you got to be cautious here. Why? Because this was only 3, right? And you can say 3 and then 3 and then 3 there. So that's 3. And this could be 5, right? Well, if that is the case, you have a 3, 3, 5. That's an ABC. So I feel like we are going to get up here. But what happens when we get up here? Are we going to flag? There's a couple ways that can play. Maybe we flag out a little bit here. Eventually we get up here, we flag out. Do we break out? Or do we have 3 waves down, then break out? See, we don't know, right? So we're just going to have to see. And that's going to depend also on Bitcoin if it becomes more complex. But let's talk about the good stuff. The good stuff is very simple, which is what? Well, it looks like, I believe, we have finally broken above the supply line, which is the most important thing we needed to do. Because we had to escape this deadly descending triangle. So I'm so glad we finally broke above that sucker. And we also had a daily close. I forgot to mention that yesterday. We had a daily close above the line, so we're good. And it's as conservative as you can get that line. So there you go. Another thing too is if we zoom in, there was a smaller descending triangle here. Remember? Right here, we had a descending triangle. Boom, boom, we had a deviation. That deviation actually got me excited because I thought, oh,
we deviated, we came back. It was a liquidity grab, and then we broke out of it. So we broke out of both supply lines, right? Or you could say downward resistance line. So um, let's go to the 4-day real quick, and let's look at this here. So, and our actually the weekly. So if we go to the weekly, so the goal for the weekly candle is to close above 250, but then also close above this line, right? Which if you close above 250, you're going to close above that line. So on the weekly, we actually had the weekly close yesterday above the line, right? Not counting the wicks. So I think we're solid. So now it becomes, once you break above the downward, now you have to break above the horizontal line, horizontal resistance. And it looks like we're starting to do that, right? Now, the weekly close or the weekly order block is around 243, 245. So, yeah, as long as it's above there, by the time the week ends, we're looking pretty solid. Again, what is today? Thursday, the pumpiest day of the week. Usually, Sunday is very bearish all the time. It usually is. Monday usually is also bearish. Tuesday, it's kind of boring. Wednesday, it gets a little exciting. Thursday, you get the big pump. Friday, you could either continue the pump or get the pullback. Saturday, you start kind of creating divergences, and then Sunday, you have the sell off. I mean, that's kind of the theme that I've noticed over the last 6 to 8 months, even longer than that. But again, it's not a guarantee that that's going to play out. I mean, it can be totally different, right? But that's usually what it does. And it usually around 11 a.m. Pacific time, which would be what, 12, 1, 2 o'clock Eastern time, that's usually when I see a lot of volatility, either pumps or dumps. So a lot of decisions get met. A lot of big orders are coming in around 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock Eastern time. So anyways, that's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. This is not financial advice. Again, I could be wrong. So I don't claim to be right. I'm just explaining what I believe is the case, and we'll see if it continues to play out. So, but we have to remember, we're still not out of the woods yet. We're still stuck in this range, in the bigger part of the range, right? Because we escaped this little range right here, which is very important. But the bigger range right here, this is, we still have yet to break that. So, we have this little movement up here, and we're kind of like poking in here. But, we could flag out a little bit in here, and then make an attempt, and then continue to correct, and maybe a little bit of a flat, and then go up. So we could have some issues coming up soon, right? So notice what I've drawn there. It kind of comes up, and then it kind of plays out. Well, gee, where have we seen that before? If you look over towards Bitcoin, there's a couple of examples, but essentially, you have this, or actually even like over here, how this, you have like 1, 2 revs up and then goes, 1, 2, it kind of revs up and then goes. But then look what happens when you get back to the resistance up here, which is up here, right? So do we get up here and we kind of like drag out a little bit before going up, kind of like over here? I mean, it's possible, right? So yeah, we're not out of the woods yet, but this is definitely good progress. And any day that we get a pump is a good day, because it just continues to validate what crypto is and all of that stuff. Crypto's one of the most important things of this century, right? Because we don't live in a people's system. We live in a corrupt central banking, deep state, fiat currency, debt, enslavement system that Benjamin Franklin and the James Madison, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, they all fought against it, right? What was the main problem in the Civil War? I mean, they like to talk about slavery, and that had a lot to do with it, but Abraham Lincoln really, he was more focused on other things, but what he did was he created the greenbacks, right? And that's why I believe he was assassinated, because he went around the banking system. That was also partly because of the Revolutionary War, because the 13 colonies decided to print their own money, and that circumvented the Bank of England, which is a Rothschild infested system. And they didn't like that. So what did they do? They fought, they tried to stop us, right? And that's why we had the Declaration of Independence, because we claimed independence from Britain, but which is really from the Bank of England. That's what it was really about. They don't tell you that. We claimed independence from the Bank of England. Okay? So, but then, right, we had our own central bank, and then and you know, that was back in the 1700s, and then in the 1800s, right, we had Andrew Jackson. By the way, during his first term, he had Andrew Jackson right there. And what was Andrew Jackson known for? He was known for defeating the second central bank of the United States, right? The first central bank rose up, people had their pitchforks and said, "We want our money." Basically, the money masters, right? So watch that documentary. Go to YouTube and watch The Money Masters. Okay? You know, it's long. It's like 3.5 hours long, but you can fast forward some of the boring parts. You know, try not to fall asleep. But no, you're not going to fall asleep. It is insanely accurate. And when you listen to the story of how the Bank of England was formed, how the monarchs and how the bankers basically dominated everything, and you can see how it all unfolded. It's crazy. It's an unbelievable story. Oh, here you go. Here's Lincoln right here. Listen to this.
Circulate all the currency and credit needed to satisfy the spending power of the government and the buying power of consumers. The privilege of creating and issuing money is not only the supreme prerogative of government, but it is the government's greatest creative opportunity. By the adoption of these principles, the taxpayers will be saved immense sums of interest. Money will cease to be master and become the servant of humanity.
So that was involving the greenbacks and stuff, and financing the Civil War. But then after the Civil War, a guy named John Wilkes Booth assassinated Lincoln. Listen to this right here. Listen.
It was 1934, the height of the Great Depression, which was ravaging Canada as well.
Right. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was
by Secret Service agents at the trial of John Wilkes Booth after Booth's death. McGeer said it showed that Booth was a mercenary working for the international bankers. According to an article in the Vancouver Sun of May 2nd, 1934,
Abraham Lincoln, the martyred emancipator of the slaves, was assassinated through the machinations of a group representative of the international bankers who feared the United States President's national credit ambitions. There was only one group in the world at that time who had any reason to desire the death of Lincoln. They were the men opposed to his national currency program and who had fought him throughout the whole Civil War on his policy of greenback currency.
There you go. When you circumvent the central bankers, especially the Rothschilds, right? They say, "I don't care who makes the laws. I just care that I make the currency. I don't care about their laws," right? That doesn't matter, because the debtor is subservient to the lender. And who's the lender? The banks. And who's the borrower? The government. And who's the slave? The people. And that is the whole point of crypto. That's why we are in crypto. Everyone's in crypto to get rich. Yes, we will get rich. But the main reason is to destroy and opt out of the system that has been here for hundreds and hundreds of years, have been dominating civilizations, and just total problems. I mean, look how many people have struggled throughout the world.
And what is the reason? Because of money, greed, power, energy, right? So it's a sad thing, and it doesn't have to be that way. Because remember, after the Civil War, it was the most prominent time in U.S. history. I mean, during the Industrial Revolution, everybody had jobs, everybody was doing well, and the country was rich. And now the country is broke and poor. And Elon Musk complains, "Oh, we're going to bankrupt, and we shouldn't spend the big beautiful bill because it's just going to add to the deficit." But he doesn't understand that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Trump had $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, 500 trillion. It doesn't matter. It's never going to be paid back. It's just numbers on a screen. So he's using it to his advantage to, rebuild everything. And before we go to a gold standard, or a silver standard, right? Because they talk about gold in this segment, and they say gold is easier to control, right? So if you go to a gold standard, it's actually easier to control than a silver standard. So actually, a silver standard would be even better. But basically, we have to expose the central banking system, and these documentaries do a very good job at doing so. And again, this is why we're all in crypto in the first place. So, all right. Stick around. There's one more clip I want to show you. But first, let's jump into Theta. So Theta's kind of still, nothing too big or fancy going on with Theta. It's in a different situation than XRP or Bitcoin. XRP and Bitcoin is on the verge of a breakout, while Theta is on the verge of a reversal heading into a retracement. So Theta has a much longer road, but from a percentage perspective, it should be even better, right? So the idea is for Theta to get back up here, right? And then hopefully by the time we get up there, Bitcoin still has juice in the tank and we can get even further out of there. So it's going to be interesting because it's unlike any other cycle we've ever had, right? So if Theta gets up here and then the bull run's over, well, Theta never had a bull run. It's been in a bear market since here. So then Bitcoin goes into a bear market. Then we have another bear market that lasts who knows how long. And we could then create your base for the explosion. Because right now we have no base. We have a move up. We have a move down. But we need another move up and another move down to create 4 points in a base, right? Because Theta, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, you got 3 up. You got 3 down. If you get 5 up, right, A, B, C, there's your B. Then you get a C, and then you go up, right? So, but we should see an exciting time in crypto, I believe, very soon. Again, because the most important part is the wave before, which is this wave right here, which we've been crashing for 6 months, since December. So all of December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Down, 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 down. That's a long time. But what did it do? It created 5 waves with major bullish divergence, I might add. This is major. Look at the angle right there. I mean, with divergence, you're lucky to get just a little bit of a tilt, like this was divergence right here, and we were saying that's pretty strong right there. But that ain't nothing compared to this. I mean, that's really strong. So I think Theta has bottomed. I think this was the low. You can see the wick right there, that candle. It just sliced it, and then it said, no way, I'm not doing that. I'm going back up because I deserve better than this. So the next step is to get back above the bull market support band. You can see we went up in 3 waves here, right? So if this is 1, 2, and 3, we can get up here, right? And then the bull market support band can kind of flatten out. We can finally break above it. Maybe we have to flag out a little bit below it to get above it. We'll see. But yeah, the whole thing of it now is just simple. Is just simply getting of this wave right here. So we're not even at the 236 yet, right? So the goal is to get up here, and I think that's what's going to happen. So the problem is when you get up there, you're going to want more. You're going to want more. But are we going to get more, or is Bitcoin going to give us no more? I don't know. That's the concerning part about it, right? Because we all want Theta to break out into a new all-time high, and Theta is 75 cents. Okay, think about this for a second. XRP's all-time high was $3.30. Theta's all-time high is what? $15. That's huge. But Theta is only 75 cents. So just to get, that's what I mean. Like, if you want a home run and you don't want to even think about it, going from where we are now, 75 cents, all the way back to the all-time high, that's a 2,000, I figured it'd be a little bit more than that. That's a 2,000% move, a 20x just to get back to the all-time high, let alone price discovery. So that's major. Now, the thing is how long is that going to take? Well, I mean, I think less than maybe 3.5 years. I think we can break that high. You say, oh, that's way far away. Well, it could happen a lot faster. It just depends what happens up here, right? Because when we get up here, it's going to be a 3-wave move. And so you could have one of these guys, before you get one of those, right? Which is this one here. So, but let's look at the small time frames. Is there anything on the small time frames? We were looking at this too, right? You had an impulse. I like the 3-wave move. Another impulse, another 3-wave move. So that could be a 1-2-1-2. And this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you got an impulse here. So if you get a little bit of a flag, this could be another 1, 2, maybe even of the third. So, but the thing is, we're moving up nicely. So, but we are running into some resistance, right? So we did break this resistance line, and we have a resistance line right here, and well, that's a support, but you don't need that. But basically, this line here, and then also we have this up here, which is at like 80 cents. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, so the major areas that I see are right where we are right now, right? Because this is the top of this wave, right? Because you have this area here, right? So we're kind of in the middle of this. So yeah, the goal is to get back up to like 80 cents or $1, and then we'll check it out again. What is Theta Fuel doing amidst this interesting situation? It's looking fine. It still looks kind of 3-wave-ish, but I wonder if this is a flat. So like 1, A, B, C, 2, and then you have 1, 2. Now we're going up 3, 4, 5. So is that 3? We'll see. All right, Trump looking good. That is Trump coin. Trump coin looking good. Yeah, so you had looks like a WXYXZ. So you had a 1 and then a 2, you flagged out, and then you had a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you popped the high. I wouldn't buy it now. Way too overextended. I really wanted that one too, because and it's kind of like this, and you just drizzle all the way down, right? You come up, you drizzle all the way down. So, but we have the bull market support band now on Trump, so that's cool. This one I'm expecting, you have a move up, you have a move down. What comes next? A move back up. So we should see some type of 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We should get up here. ICP kind of still consolidating at the lows. A lot of energy down in here. A lot of accumulation, right? You could spike the low before you could get a liquidity grab under those environments. And it's really kind of like this crap right over here. So it's really wishy-washy and it's hard to trade, but you know, when you kind of look beyond that, it looks like a diag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, right? So let's keep it moving. Ethereum, we'll look at a few others. Ethereum's looking good, right? Remember, we've been looking at this as an expanded flat. You come up here, same kind of thing as XRP, right? How it comes up here and it plays around in a reverse flag, and then it pops the high, but we're still stuck at resistance. So maybe Friday we get a continuation. If we get a continuation Friday, it's going to set us up good for the weekly close. Then we'll probably get a little sell-off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then hopefully we can kick it back up later at the end of next week. Because Ethereum looks amazing right here. I really like the way it's shaped, right? Again, 3 waves down, 3 waves up, 3 waves back down. And this is my concern with theta, right? Overall, is theta like somewhere over here where, yes, it's going to go up, but then it still has to do this before ultimately breaking out. And you have WXY, you created your big base so that you can launch into space. And then also, when we look at theta, again, with Ethereum, you can see when we look at the larger time frames, we can see something similar going on with what we saw with Ethereum back in 2020. Okay, so we have, let's get rid of that. We have, actually, let me see, let's put the bull market there and the bull market there. Very similar. So we have our pump in Ethereum and then a big crash. We had a pump and a theta and a big crash. And then we had this little bit of a retrace, and then notice we had 3 waves down. 1, 2, 3 waves down. Well, look at this. We also have 3 waves down. It's very prominent. And then what happened after that? Ethereum just literally went into the stratosphere. So is that what's going to happen with theta? Remember, if we're going to war and they're censoring the internet and streaming stuff, and I mean, you got Starlink and all that, but I just feel like, you know, there's going to be a place in the world for theta, and there's so much going on with theta. I don't keep up on all the utility aspect as much as I should, but that's why, you know, I follow some great people that post great updates about theta, and yeah, so I appreciate those updates because, you know, this is my world. It's not, I don't really know what's going on as far as their progress. I mean, I see it from time to time, but it's looking like they're doing a lot better. So, and more exciting things are happening. I mean, I just saw this the other day. We were pleased to announce high performance data processing and analysts, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you know, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for progress, right? So yeah, I definitely see it. So basically, there's really 3 ideas with theta. I mean, this is A, B, and C. And then we go up, which means we continue to crash. Or we have 3, 3, and then 5, and then we have reaccumulation and then go up like that. Or we have the Ethereum model, which is the W model, which is something like this. And we have our double bottom. I mean, it's so perfect. I mean, dude. So I really, really hope it's this one. That would be so sick. And if it was, let's say it is that one, well, where did Ethereum go? Well, it went, according to Fib, which never ever lies, it went all the way up to the 3.414, essentially. So, right there, 272 and 414. Okay, so if we did the same thing with theta, because it's literally the same setup, we should have the same results. All right, so what would that be? Remember, 3.414, what would that be? Well, if we take a fib level, we go all the way down. Oh my goodness. The 3.414 is at $55. $55. That's a lot of dollars, okay? That's and the reason why is because we're only at 75 cents. I mean, XRP is at like almost $3 or $2.50. So going to $10 is insane. Well, not really. I mean, it's only a couple 100%, but theta is not even $1, let alone $2.50. But the upside potential is way bigger. So when XRP was 40-50 cents, I was all on board. But now that XRP is almost at $3, the percentages are decreasing. So my love for XRP is going down because the potential is going down, right? So that's why I'm looking at other coins. So if we go all the way up to the 3.414, what did I say, $50? We'll just keep it at a round number, $50. That's a 6,700% move. That is, what, a 67x or so? Between a 50 and 100x we should expect for theta if it's going to go into the W model, which is basically just a rampage. So if we look back at Ethereum and we look at this wave, I mean, you kind of had like a 1 2 1 2, and then you had a 3 4 and then 5. So but here's the thing though, it's gonna be, so if we look at the zone right here, that's the level, right? That zone's way up here. It's a lot harder to get to that zone, I think. So if we look at the percentages from there to the top of the zone, that's only 200% or 220 or so. And then if we look at theta from where we are to the top, that's also about 200% or so. So it's kind of like in the same ballpark, which you would expect. So if we can, you can see this was C19, right? So it's going to look different because you're not going to have that insane capitulation. But we had a 6-month drawdown, so you can see the reaction, right? How it came up and then it went like that. So if we could come up and go like that, right? Pop the high, back test it, and then just start rampaging up here, right? And then kind of have one more push, and that would be it. And if that happened, that would be insane, okay? So there you go. That's theta. Nothing too much going on. Hopefully, at some point, we'll see something extremely exciting. SHIB, it's the same thing with theta. It's kind of in the same boat, but it's got a little bit better structure because it's got more of a base to it. It's got more of a support structure, and the lean angle on that three-way pullback is looking really snappy. So that's why I don't know if theta, or I'm sorry, SHIB would have to go into reaccumulation because it already went into a retrace, a full-on retrace, right? Remember, from here to here, is not that much. So it's going to be very interesting how this meme coin plays out. I think it's going to be one of the best meme coins out there, based on my opinion, not because I like SHIB or the meme itself, but because of the chart. It's got a beautiful chart. So look at this 3-way move. I mean, it's perfect. It's like too perfect. You got a 5-3-5, right? You're back testing right in here. You're holding support, right? So it's all up, and you have 5 waves down over the last 6 months. So we should see a big pop here, and then with that, hopefully, more continuation. So even SHIB is not even above the bull market support band, but yeah, it's getting there. It's working it. So nothing too much else. Dog, you know, it kind of looked like an ascending triangle now. It kind of looks more of an ascending triangle. I haven't seen an ascending triangle in crypto in a long time. I used to see them all over. So that's cool. And this is another crazy one. Like, if this sucker ever got back to the all-time high, well, I know theta was like, what, 2,200%? Okay, well, try 7,000% just to get back to the all-time high. Now, I don't even know if this coin will ever get to the all-time high. I don't know what the inflation is. I don't, you know, the tokenomics are what matters, right? I do see 5 waves. So, is this finished? I don't know. I think it could be, based on the other charts. So this is a Hail Mary. If this thing ever got back up here, that's a lot of percentages. But I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in XRP because it's so close to getting a major confirmation. And then also XDC, which I totally did not get in XDC, and I really wanted to. I just didn't feel like it was ready. But you can see it is ready. I mean, look at this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, look at that. Powerful, powerful. Back above the bull market support band. Fetch. .ai is another one that could be interesting here. You know, you have this major 3-wave. Is that back in... That's back of March of last year. Okay, so yeah, so that's been very long time. So 3-wave pullback back into the support. You got a big wave up, and now you're cocked back like a loaded gun. So are we gonna explode up here? I mean, it sure in the hell looks like it. So Bitcoin dominance. This is the guy that we really need to take down. So Bitcoin dominance is just, you know, look at it. It's just charging, charging, charging. Is it over? Well, I thought it could be over here, and it wasn't. So, but since then we've had 5 waves, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And or you can even say 5 here, and we took the high. We just took the high. So this is a good thing, because I'm sure that we're starting to get bearish divergence. See, we haven't had any bearish divergence on the way up here, but now we're starting to get divergence, which is good. It's starting to get weak. So unless this is a flat A, B, C, and we keep pumping, I don't know. We'll see. But I think Bitcoin dominance needs to collapse on itself. That would be a nice thing. XLM getting a little bit of a pumpy pump here. Look at that. Damn. Okay. Well, let's see. Is there anything else? What about AVAX? AVAX is looking good. I mean, they're all looking okay, you know. I want to look at H-bar and ADA. It's kind of the same situation as theta. You know, it's got that lean angle. I mean, it's got that lean base. It's got the 3-wave. I mean, it's in the same situation. So, yeah, I expect upside. I mean, you know, pick your coin, right? Pick your coin, which one you want. I mean, you really can't go wrong with... I mean, NEAR is the same example as AVAX. Same looking thing. ADA. So ADA is a little different, but it's still got that kind of flag to it, you know, like over here. So we should expect a pump out of it, right? So, you know, it's this climbing the wall of worry, actually. So the thing that I don't like about ADA is that, I've said this before, that it's cupping down. It's cupping down instead of cupping up. Right? So you could see a downward resistance line that totally needs to be broken. That hasn't been broken. That's concerning because it's building this descending triangle that we don't want. Right? So ADA is in a situation. Right? So if it comes up here and then it comes back down and then it goes flat, it's going to crash. It will crash. But if we can get up here and we can flag out and keep that volatility alive and break it, then we can get back up here. So that's what we really need to happen. So that's why I haven't really touched ADA quite yet. Total 3... Same kind of situation, right? 3-way pullback, pump, kind of like Bitcoin. You're breaking the flag. Breaking the flag. So H-bar, you're cupping down, but you don't have that descending triangle look to it. It's more of like a flag to it, right? So if I put this here, yeah, it's not the greatest, but the idea is we want to break above the downward resistance, and H bar is right. So let me just take a regular line, put this right there. Yeah, you can see we're breaking. It's not really a respected line, but let's see, there's one over here too. So we're kind of right there. So we'll see Chainlink and then Litecoin, right? So Link is good. You got a high or a low, a higher low, right? Higher high, higher high. So, you know, correction, impulse, correction. Should we get another impulse? I mean, that's what it looks like, right? I mean, isn't that what it seems to you? I mean, that's what it seems to me. I don't like Link as much because of this 3-wave move. I just don't really, you know, I just don't like how, if this is 3 down and this is 3 up, you know, this could be a bigger situation here. I mean, I'm just eyeballing it from the structure perspective, but if everything's gonna go at once, then it should be no problem with Link. Yeah, Link is looking good. So Litecoin is the right coin. Is it really though? Yeah, Litecoin's great. Unless it's compared to Bitcoin and it's a disaster. I don't know, man. Litecoin is one of those that is just a pressure cooker, you know. You're just kind of in this situation here, and I think what it is it's a massive triangle here, right? You got this here. Let's put this back over there. And then if we take our triangle